welcome everyone to Weekend Escapades. Today we are in Moapa Valley. Now we've been past here before, SR 168, and this location is kind of a little oasis full of palm trees, as you can see behind us. Been by here before, never really pulled off the road. Huge palms just in the middle of the Nevada desert, and it's due to the fact that there's a tremendous amount of springs here. So there's a wildlife refuge right behind me. This is all part of it. And we're going to explore this location, as it is one of those hidden roadside attractions and a little bit of Nevada history. All right, right out of the gate, extremely clean bathrooms. Notice that right away. And there's like some bird watching way up there on the hill. See if we can work our way up there. Got plenty of things here for your dogs, dog friendly. And we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. A Native American quote. A nice little water bottle filler here, and a place for your pets to drink some water. And here's our trail, the Warm Springs Overlook. Let's head up towards those palms. So this location, being literally in the middle of the desert, as you can see the ground around what's on here. Now, one of the things, snakes for sure. I was walking in St. George the other day on a little hike, and I walked past a bush like right there, and there was a rattlesnake in it, letting me know that it was on the trail. And ever since then, I've been a little more cautious, because that one was literally right on the trail. I wasn't walking through the brush, on the trail, and it was right next to me. A little spooky. I can't imagine without some kind of water would those giant things even survive. You see this trail literally just winds through the desert. And I'm assuming it's going to go up that direction. It's not that hot, a little breeze, probably 80-ish. It didn't look like far to get up to the top. It's not horrible. It's a good little trail. But let me tell you, it's a lot further, about double the length you think, because it's all switchbacks coming up here. Okay, we made it to the top. Feeling a little parched now that we get to the top. There's a nice little bench up here and a shaded area. No snakes so far. So we are standing in the driest region in North America. And it says here, of course, the Mojave Desert. Millions of years ago, a vast, shallow sea covered this land. And it disappeared. It left behind minerals such as salt and calcium that are mined today. This used to be all underwater. So the ranges in the area are from an underlying tectonic plate. Nevada has the most mountain ranges, the most in all 48 lower states. That is quite a few. But when you look out here, you can see the mountain ranges all around you. And as you drive through Nevada, I mean, it's desert and it's flat, but you could tell that it was once like ocean or water, because there's a lot that's been pushed up around it. But it's just literally desert, and then it just goes right into this oasis of palm trees. And for generations, the Nuavi have respectfully used the plants growing in the stream banks in upland desert. Honey and screw beans, mesquite pods, provide a nutritious food when ground. So they still value these resources. But when you look out here, you think nothing can grow. But right around the water areas, I don't know how many feet off, it seems like a few hundred feet off where the water is flowing, the water's still probably going underground and giving, you know, what is needed from the water to the, you know, a few hundred feet from the water, soaking under the ground to be able to provide the water to grow these trees and crops and things. Like a pool in the middle of the desert. So with the habitat altered drastically, the Moapa Dace, Moapa dace, D-A-C-E, faced extinction. Well, I'll tell you, it's here today, and they've made this little refuge for all these little lizards running around. They love the heat. They love the heat. Look at, they're everywhere. Little lizards. They're kind of fun when you see a lizard. They sit there and do push-ups in the sun, getting warm. So they're trying to restore the springs and the natural habitat. And by the water in the middle of the desert, what a wildlife resort it would be instead of a resort for people. But maybe both can get along. I'm sure around all this water down here in this park, people would love to put some condominiums and resorts back in here to make some money, but they're kind of protecting it because these little critters need a place to call home and do their push-ups. All right, so this is on the other side. I guess this would be kind of the west side. The desert oasis shows fish. Oh yeah, I do hear water now. It's right here. Great. I see a little picture with a frog in a hand. Small creatures endlessly fascinate us as adults. We can protect them so as to inspire future children. There's a little walk right down to the water here. All right, here's where the water runs. A little walking bridge with a creek. Makes you feel a lot cooler when you hear that sound out here in the middle of the desert. Look, there's a little waterfall over there too. Really peaceful here. The wind blowing through the palm trees. Those are huge. So when we say Moapa dace, that is a fish that exists here. And here's that water source, the creek. And what they've done is they've put glass up here, a little viewing window. And there's what the Moapa dace looks like. If you were a Moapa dace, you would be a slender fish up to 5 inches long with a bright black spot on the base of your tail. Right over there. No, I don't see any Moapa daces in here. Oh, wait, is that one right there? The little fish right there. Yeah. Oh, it took off. There it is. Right down there. See them? Those look like Moapa daces. Oh, those are really teeny. Here's a bunch of them here too. Maybe you can see them better. But those are them.
Oh, that's them.
Yeah. The Moapa dace. Living in this little creek. It's got a nice little viewing window to be able to see them. And they're still in their natural habitat. A lot of mesquite trees and these giant things. It's just, again, shocking because when we came through here before, we saw and always wondered what these palm trees were off to the left. It's probably my fault for not looking it up as I was going down the road, but sometimes when you travel and you want to look something up, you don't have any service on your phone or internet, and then you forget about it till next time you're by here, and again, you don't have internet the next time. And you got a lot of things going on, or destinations you're going and filming, so you forget about the one you passed. You can see how lush and green it gets down here. A little marshy here, so the little footbridge, but a little creek running there, just barely. A little contributor to the bigger one. Still moving pretty good. And it's kind of like all these little springs run into the other one. I think across the road right there we're gonna head over there. There's supposed to be a much bigger spring area where the river, or the spring runs real fast. So you can see here, it's kind of a convergence right here. So one comes together here, there's another one there, and another one right here, and they all run in to this one. And this one's gonna go across the road into that bigger area. Some crystal clear water. All right, on the other side of the road, and this is supposed to be a big area where the hot springs are.
Howard Hughes owned this land.
Oh yeah, that's right. And Howard Hughes owned all this land at one point. And then I guess there's still an area down the road that's owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that was donated from Howard Hughes to the church that's down the road. So they still have a big area down here, I guess. Now, I don't know anything about it, but we were told that by one of the people that work here. But kind of interesting that Howard Hughes owned this. You know, every place you go, you always hear about Howard Hughes owning something. I mean, he was big into most everything when it came to money. And the Spruce Goose was no slouch. I've seen that one firsthand. That was a massive airplane. So there it is. Some of the natives. Paiute women wearing basket hats. The lost city of Puebloans. And a camp along the muddy river. There's a lot of history and things to see here for sure. In 9200 and 5500 BC, the early archaic period is characterized by projectile points and tools and artifacts found on the Moapa River. Indian reservations show the earliest occupation of the area. That's early. But you hear that across the desert areas, wherever there's water. You know, Utah, Arizona, and Nevada. So here's our little path. A little footbridge, just kind of follow this around, goes down by the road, and see what we can see. So there's no shortage of walking trails here. I can't remember how many feet or acres of walking trails that I was told was here. We're just kind of experiencing it here on the ground, but I'm a little impressed as to how well this is kept and how nice it looks. Hidden gem off the I-15 on 168. This is literally a hidden gem. And this flowing springs is what drove and brought the Native Americans to this area. Oh wow, look at this, big spring area. So this is where the water from across the street runs. Look how crystal clear that is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I was out in the desert and I found this, I think I'd stay. Build myself a house right there. Okay, so here's a little piece of info that's very interesting. They literally dive here, they snorkel. And they do this twice a year. And they count every dace. I imagine that can't be exactly accurate, but February 2024, 1935. So they're counting in the pools, and they crawl over the rocks, and they wiggle under logs and trees to survey and count every fish. And they're just tiny, 2 to 3 inches. You saw some of them in that viewing window, and those were really small. Those were like 1.5 inches. The stuff you don't know. Well, this is pretty. It's like something off an island, you know, big palm trees and water. And that is so clear. Oh, you can see little dace swimming in there. Probably too small on the camera, but there's definitely a few little fish swimming in there. And here's where it starts running again. So the area we're walking in, actually this whole area, they said there was a resort, literally a resort and buildings here. and across the street, the resorts. I'm assuming that's where all of these palm trees came from, because these are not native to the Nevada desert. So this was the resort, and then when it was purchased by the Federal Bureau, then what they did is they tore down the resort and made this a natural wildlife habitat. Old John Deere, yep. Model D John Deere. The original low-down spreader. Huh. The old horse-drawn spreader. Place to sit right up there. It's in pretty good shape. It says here that the story of the past is the abundant water and food resources attracted outlaws, ranchers, and early settlers to Warm Springs. In the 1870s, the first recorded historic settlement at Warm Springs is established by Texas outlaw Alexander Dry, D-R-I. He built a stone cabin with an arrowhead or arrowweed thatched roof near a spring, and also grazed cattle and horses on the site. And that would have been the dugout that they built. And there's some old ranch buildings and carriages that were here. There's a group of workmen that were putting this place together. And there's a wagon over here. I don't see a trail to get to it, so maybe I'm supposed to be in here, maybe I'm not, but don't tell anybody if I'm not. Nice old, what is that, a buckboard? Of course, I'm sure it wasn't that color back in the day. There's a water wheel, an original water wheel down here. It was part of the operating ranch that was here, and probably the resort as well. Let's find out about this powerful water wheel. Right, so this water wheel, that is the original water wheel. You can see a little generator or whatever there. So this generated all the power in the location. A little stone lined ditch right there, and they diverted the water right down here. Would turn that water wheel, and up till 1930 it was the only source of electricity they had on property for that, and of course anything they had for the equipment that they needed. But that was your source of power until 1930, the original water wheel. So this trail goes on for quite a ways, and what we're doing, I think we're working our way down to the actual hot springs, the river down here, the big part of it. It's at the bottom of the hill, so we're going to kind of switch back on the way back down here. Crystal clear. Look at that, in the middle of the desert. You go from this beautiful green area, all this running water, to the dry desert. Never seen such a picture-perfect oasis. And there's the desert right out there beyond those palm trees. All right, so waking up this morning, we thought, where are we going to go today? What are we going to do? And we just started talking. I said, let's go check out that location off the highway with all the palm trees. And this is where we ended up and what we found out. We appreciate you following along. And until the next adventure, goodbye from Weekend Escapades, and we'll see you in the next one. Palm trees in the desert.